Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, hello, 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 and welcome, welcome. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Crew Podcast. Of course, I am the visionary, Queen Angela, and I want to welcome you guys back to another episode where we will have an opportunity to meet Miss Sunshine Pace. She is one of the amazing authors that's attached to the 100 Authors Movement. If you are not attached to the 100 Author Movement, I want you to get attached. I want you to go over and make sure that you are following our Aspiring Authors, 100 Authors to Watch page so that you get an opportunity to meet some of these amazing authors, creatives that are definitely powerhouses and are doing their thing around the world, y'all. They're not just in their communities, they are being a voice. They are allowing their voice to be heard. They are doing it by sharing their messages. So I'm excited to hear tonight to allow Miss Sunshine to share a little bit about herself. So, y'all, I'm going to move on out the way and bring this amazing queen on up so that she can introduce herself and we can just dive into that conversation, y'all. We're just having a conversation. So I want y'all to relax and share this in your circle because you never know what the next person need of. So share this out as I bring up my special guest on tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, hello there. Thank you so much, Queen Angela, for that beautiful introduction. Thank you for the opportunity and the platform to be able to come and share with your audience here and all around the world. I'm incredibly grateful to God for allowing our paths to cross and for me being on this movement of 100 aspiring Black authors. And so I am super excited. A little bit about myself. Sunshine. Sometimes people ask me, well, where did sunshine come from? And there's a little short story I'll share. Back in 2009, I moved my family to Florida, and I was working from home. So that allowed me a lot of time to be able to go to my children's school and be really active. And so my oldest daughter, Marissa, was a freshman at Brooks D. Bartlow High School in Tampa, Florida. And I walked in one day, her school, and the principal said, look at you walking in like a big old ball of sunshine. Can I start calling you Sunshine? And so that's where it started in 2009. And I wear that title proudly and boldly. I am Sunshine. God has given me this positive spirit, and I just love people, and I just love to share the goodness of God with others. So 2009, I became Sunshine. Right now in 2025, I'm married. Thank God for blessing me with a husband after 50. A lot of women struggle with finding real meaningful relationships when we get older in life, but I'm so grateful that God has blessed me with a loving husband after 50. We've been married now for 9 months. That's what I shared with the church yesterday. It's been 9 whole months. We got married August 18th. And so I'm a mother of three biological children and three bonus children. So we got our own little Brady bunch, and they range from 36 years old all the way to 14. And our daughter, our baby daughter, she just had her prom on Saturday, and so I'm so excited about her life and her future as she get ready to go off to college this year. And then I am a proud grandmother. I have one bonus um, grandson, and then I have my first biological grandson, my little chunkums. He's also 9 months, so he was born in August as well, the same month I got married. So August was such a busy time for my family in 2024. And so writing, I have always had a story in me. I've always had something to share, and I could remember even like stories and different things. My imagination have always been vivid, but I didn't want to write nonfiction because my own life and my own journey is story in itself. And now I am so grateful to God for the opportunity for me to be able to live out my purpose. I found like I've got this newfound purpose through writing, and that is to share my story to empower and uplift women, but everybody, not just women, but everybody. And so my journey of writing actually started a few years ago when I was going through different situations with different relationships. And I looked in a mirror and I told myself, girl, you're not that desperate. And from that moment on, that seed had been planted inside of me. And it just came to fruition last year for my birthday in December. I told myself, I am going to publish this book because the message in it needs to get out because women are hurting, they're struggling, and God gave me a formula to help people. And if you look at those four guiding principles and live according to that, you can be set free because the Bible tells us where the spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And so that is my message through that book, is just to empower people, women specifically, and to let them know and encourage them like you not the only one that had that experience or been through that. And that's what I get to, like a lot of women telling me like, oh my God, I read your book and I saw my own self in your story. And I was like, well,
Mhm.
yes, I know I'm not alone, but I think it's important for me to share this story just to help the next person and to empower them of growth and self-love. And then also that's my first book, Girl, You're Not That Desperate. So this was like my debut book, Girl, You're Not That Desperate. That was the debut. And then last year I also had a spinal fusion surgery, and I ended up with a pulmonary embolism, and I was just like really sick like for a good portion of last year. And through that whole process of being healed, I authored a devotional that's titled "Just Chill and Heal." And this is like for anyone, devotional for anyone that's going on a healing journey and looking for peace, and it's just to remind you to just be still and know that God is who He said He is, and just continue to have faith and believe, and your healing is right on the other side. And then also, last year, I did a journal. It's called A Daily Dose of Sunshine. And so, this journal is like to start the day with some sunshine mindset and end the day with some positivity. And yeah, so that's all three of my books. And something else, like I'm an acronym queen. I love acronyms. And so this book here, Girl, You're Not That Desperate, it'll take you from being in despair all the way to evolution. And then the journal actually shows you how to create your own sunshine. And then this one, It'll teach you how to chill. So that's my literary journey right now. Also, I am going to be on an anthology that's coming out in July. It's called I Am a Living Testimony. So I'm excited about that. And then in August, I am going to publish another book called So Here I Am. And it's like a children's book because it's in the voice of my grandson. And at the end of the day, all this was is about leaving a legacy for my children, my children's children, for all generations to come. And to God be all the glory.
Wow, you touched on a lot of things that I'm over here clapping. I am so proud of all the things that you are doing, because oftentimes, as survivors, as individuals that have testimonies that have been through tests, a lot of time we sit down on those tests, we sit down on those testimonies, and we will not allow people to see how we got through, so that they can get through too. So I am so proud of you for sharing,
Thank
in all
you.
of your books, in allowing your voice to be amplified, and allowing that test that you endured to show somebody else how you got through, and to show them that they too can get through. You are definitely being intentional. You're being intentional about those things that God has called and purposed you to do. I
Mm.
believe in leaving a legacy. I believe that it's all about us being able to leave that greater works, because the word tells us if you are a believer, you know that he said we should do greater works. And how would people know about those greater works if we don't leave the evidence? Because we can't change the word. We can't add to it and we can't take from it. So how would they know the greater works that we have done if we don't leave the evidence? And now it is so important, if you have never decided to create a legacy and leave a legacy, right now is the most important time, because of what is taking place in society and how
Amen.
our legacy is being erased. You have to know how to create these things and put these things in place, so that your story can be told and your story can be left and not be erased, because a lot of people don't want our stories told. So I'm over here cheering for you. I'm cheering for you in the legacy
Thank you,
that you are
Queen.
creating. And
Thank you, Queen.
congratulations. Congratulations on your nuptials, because yes,
Thank
at
you.
50, I just turned 50 April the 1st. So at 50, and um as a single person, that is on the dating scene, yes, sometimes you think, will I get a second chance at love? So you have just encouraged some of us that are out here, waiting for our Boaz to find us, you
He
know.
there,
So
honey.
thank you for dropping that on today, because somebody needed to hear that. So thank you for
Amen.
sharing that and encouraging us to stay the course and to keep being that Proverbs 31 woman, so that
Yes.
our husband can find us, because the words say a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. So hey, continue to be that good thing so that he can find you.
Yes.
So yeah, you drop the mic, young lady.
Yeah, and to one point that you had just mentioned about people don't want to share my story. Like this book here, girl, You're Not That Desperate is really real and really raw. And I shared like a lot of like personal things about me. And I did get some backlash like, oh my God, you sharing that, you putting that out there, you spilling your own tea. But hey, I believe that my past and my experiences doesn't define me because I know who I am and I know whose I am, and that we all fall short. We all make mistakes, but I am grateful that God has allowed me to continue to be here on earth to live out my purpose. And like you said, if I can just share this story to let one person know that if God did it for me, that same God can do it for you. And then it was all worth it, me spilling my own tea. but But yeah, it doesn't. My past doesn't define me, and I believe I went through those experiences not just for myself, but for somebody else to know that if God delivered me, if God saved me from out of those situations, from being sexually abused, from living in a domestic violence relationship, He can definitely do that. And I really truly believe the best is yet to come if we just trust in God with our whole heart and lean not into our own understanding. It's just like I just rely on the word because, yeah, the word is the truth in life, and we will set free. We are set free by the truth. And so I'm grateful.
Wow. And I'm just looking at your picture, and you are definitely a burst of sunshine. So that person that gave you
Oh,
that
thank you,
name, they
Queen.
definitely gave you the right name. Um, God knew, that sometimes He had to change our name, and that was the name that He gave you, because
Amen.
He knew that you were going to be that breath of sunshine for somebody, that you were going to be that light that somebody was going to need in their life, and for you
Amen.
to endure and be able to still, I tell people all the time, a lot of people say, I'm glad I don't look like what I've been through, but I'm glad, I'm glad I look just like this, because now people can see that you can go through and still come through on the other side and not look like
Absolutely.
what you went through. So I'm glad I look like, I'm glad I look like this, because
Hmm.
what I went through, it allowed me to be able to be right here, to be able to be right here. So when you reminded, when people say, I'm glad you don't look like what you, yeah, I'm glad, because you look good.
Absolutely.
You
Yes,
look good.
indeed.
That you look good. So, um, you say you got some things coming up. Um, how can we follow you? How can we grab some of the things that
Yes.
you've already have out here?
Yeah, so my link tree, all the links are in my link tree. So it's linktree/sunshine pace. If people familiar with Linktree, you could find me there. I'm on Instagram and on Facebook, and I'm supposed to be trying to set up a TikTok, but I'm like, is TikTok gonna be here, or if it's not gonna be here? I think the weekend when it was talking about it was gonna go down, I downloaded the app, and so I know that I have to get on all the social medias. I got a Twitter account, but I'm not on Twitter. But now you can really, I post most on Facebook, and that's Sunshine Pace on Facebook. That's, yeah.
Definitely.
And then Instagram is sunshine with Keisha P 24. That's the Instagram.
Well, definitely, I am super excited to have you here, a part of the 100 Authors Movement. Um, I definitely look forward to working with you and seeing what all of these amazing creative minds, um, and how we can really promote each other and really support each other. I'm
Amen.
excited. I'm excited.
Yes.
It's
Yep, I'm
definitely
excited to be a part of it. And then I see my big sister, my author mentor Simone on, and I hope that she doesn't mind me sharing like how we met. So my daughter used to date her son, and he's unfortunately not with us right now. um, but that's how I met her at that moment. So we met during a period of time that wasn't the best of times, but I'm grateful to God that our paths did cross because she is such an inspiration to me. And I don't think I ever shared that with her before, but I love her, and just seeing how strong she is after losing Ashton, and just being a beacon and a light for the world as a mother that is going through grieving. I really admire her strength for that. And so I just want to let her know that I love her for that, and just keep on keeping on and Be encouraged, sister, because people are seeing you, and I love what you're doing with your author lounge and the anthology and all the different outlets that you're creating too. And I'm just super proud of you and glad to be a part of the movement, because that's what I was sharing with Queen Angela. I got to her through you. So, I just thank God for connection and collaboration. And at the end of it all, God is going to be glorified. And so I'm just thankful for that. And I see my sister on. Hey,
Yes,
sister.
you are
That's
definitely you're hitting on a lot of important things, because yes, we are supposed to be helpmates one to another. We're supposed to be each other's helpmates, and definitely Simone has definitely been a beacon of light to many. She has not only endured the loss of her son and gone through grief, but in all that she has endured, a lot of people may not know, but she had brain surgery. Um, Back last year, and had to go through therapy, and is still going through therapy. So she's definitely a true example of healing, a true example
mm,
of empowerment. We're doing a conference called Matters of the Heart, and when God dropped that word heart in my spirit, He said healing, empowerment, align, resilience, and trauma no more. And she definitely aligns with all of them. And when she wanted to be a part of it, she chose healing. Um, and she's definitely going through a phase of healing. And I watch God, because you talk about a young lady that had a walking around with a brain tumor, went to the emergency room, and I think she had to have emergency surgery. And I remember
mhm,
On Thanksgiving, I remember her having a seizure. So for her to be doing all that she's doing, and for her to constantly, she may not show up how she want to show up, but the fact that she's showing up and being an example for somebody else. Her and this other young lady that I always talk about, her name is Alma. Alma had a stroke, I'm talking about a paralyzing stroke that immobilized her. um, and she still shows up to do a podcast. She's been a host on this network here for the last 3 seasons, and she has done it from her hospital bed.
mm.
When she came to me and told me she wanted to I didn't know that she had a stroke and was in the nursing home. I didn't know until she decided to join the podcast that she was in the nursing home. She thought she would be home before we actually did the podcast. She actually came home the day we launched the podcast. But the fact that
Wow.
she pressed her way, these are the type of people that God had allowed me to, be in my midst. And it's just to keep reminding me of who He is. Because He tells us if we
Absolutely.
draw nigh unto Him, He'll draw unto us. So,
Yes.
what better way to know than by example and having these living examples? So, it's nothing that nobody is telling you. It's something that you're able to experience and see for yourself. You know,
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. Yeah,
I am
even
truly.
mhm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, even yesterday, we had our Women's Day at church, and the theme was "Healed, Loose, and Set Free by Jesus Christ," and it was taken from the story of Luke, um, 13, 10 through 13. And I said, I'm that woman. That bent over woman was me, because last year, girl, I was crawling to the bathroom and I didn't have no other option but to have spine surgery. And I said, Jesus is not threatened by nobody with no medical degree, because even Luke was a physician who told the story of the bent lady. So I'm just grateful to God, that same Jesus that healed her healed me. And so I'm able to stand up straight and run and jump and
Yes.
praise God, because last year I wasn't able to. So yeah.
Yes, that's great, and the fact that you are out here sharing your story and you're not being quiet, that you are sharing his goodness. You know,
Yes,
that's the
indeed.
one thing that I wanted to do. That's how I am able to do all the things that I'm doing, because I remember being on my bed of affliction, shot point blank range with a sawed off shotgun. I shouldn't be here.
Mm,
But
my God.
God saw fit, and all I wanted him to do was to raise me up off my bed of affliction. I said, if he raised me up off my bed of affliction, I just wanted to share his goodness. And he allowed me books. He allowed me the podcast. He allowed me these outlets to be able to share his goodness. So in everything I do, I have to reference him, because if it was not for
Absolutely.
him, I would not be here. So I'm grateful that
No,
he
that's
allowed
right.
us all the opportunity to share his goodness and to draw closer to him, and to help others that may be lost, that may not know the way, that our stories may be that little beacon of light that can help them, to guide them, to lead them. um, because I'm telling you, I ain't always
That's
been
right.
on this side. I
Right.
got a pass. We all got a pass. I'm telling you, we talk about that on our
Absolutely.
prayer call. It's our past that led us to that prayer call at 5 a.m.
Hmm.
every morning for the last 5 years. It was our
Oh,
past
yeah.
that led us there. So hey, I'm grateful for that past, because guess what?
Hmm.
He knew he knew what it was going
Yes,
to
he
take to get
did.
us where we needed to be, to get us in
Hmm.
to get us in line, to align with that he had already ordained for us, because free will allow us to make our choices, and a lot of us, we sometimes we make the wrong choices, and we get a little distracted, and we get off the course. But he know how to get us
Absolutely.
back on course. And I'm grateful for people like you guys that
Yeah.
allow me the opportunity to share your brand. So again, before we leave, I always like for my guests to say something encouraging, something inspirational, that somebody that may come across the platform that may be going through something today, that will encourage them to stay on this journey, to know that no, it may not have been easy, but yet I'm here. So
Yes.
speak to that person today.
Well, person, if nobody has told you that they loved you today, Sunshine loves you for real. Keep the faith, keep the hope, and never ever give up. Because why? God is in control and you are in charge to live your best abundant life. As long as you have breath in your body, you have purpose, you have possibilities, and all you need to do is walk in that. The Bible tells us that faith without works is dead. And so I encourage you to walk in that, hold on to that. Work and faith, faith and works, the dynamic duo. Faith believes, works achieve. Faith believes, work achieve. So if you have the faith, the Bible tells us as little as a mustard seed, but then you also got to do something. It's just not enough to just believe, but you got to work. And so I just encourage you to have faith and put the work and watch your life just manifest into the life that God has designed for you. Your journey is not going to look like anyone else's journey, but it's your journey to nonetheless. So when life is lifing, continue to have faith and put in the works, and the best is truly yet to come. My life is a testimony of that. When if you read my books, you will see the journey, but embrace the journey and continue to trust God. And I love you.
Wow. Trust the process, embrace the journey, and trust the process. Wow. And
And faith and
Sunshine
work.
loves you. Faith and works. As that scripture say, faith without works is dead. So we got to put in the work.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Thank you for stopping by and sharing on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course, of course. Anytime, anytime, you're more than welcome to stop by. When you get ready to drop those new projects, make sure you stop by. Know that we here at the Crew Podcast, there is, I think we have now 11 other hosts. So there's opportunity. There may be other hosts that align with your brand that you may want to be a part of their show. So just check them out. Of course, they're on
Yes,
Linktree too, the Crew Podcast. Go on over to Linktree, y'all. I tell anybody, if you don't have a Linktree, get you a Linktree, because that
that's
is
right.
where you can link everything. You don't have to be worried about giving out all these different links. Everything is right there in one place. If you want to learn anything about the Crew Podcast, if you are looking to be interviewed, you need a book review. We have a book reviewer that is a part of the team. She also has a podcast. She's on every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. She's always introducing new authors. She does book reviews, and I tell you, she's good at what she does. She's been a part of the Charleston County Library System here in South Carolina for the last 19 years. So when I tell you she is good at what she do, she's good at what she do. So if you need a book review, and she gonna give you her honest opinion, if it's something that need to be addressed, she's gonna tell you about it, and she's gonna, not telling you to go back and change it, because she done told me about some stuff. I ain't go back and change it. I just made note of it for the next book, so I know not to do it the next time. And that's what we
Right,
want. We want you guys to leave reviews. We want you to tell us about our book. Give us the encouragement. Give us the if you didn't like it, tell us why you didn't like it. And if you loved it, tell us why you loved it. Like,
right.
just don't just mark the stars. Tell us why you felt how you felt. Because we need your perspective. We need your thoughts. We need to know, so that we can keep going, and we can keep providing you with that's going to help you go to the next level. Because what we're sharing and the things that we're sharing is not always for us, but it's for
That's
those that
right.
God has given us charge over, those that He's
Hmm.
given us a mandate to bring and to witness to, and to share his goodness with. So thank you, sunshine, for coming on and being that breath of sunshine on today. For that person that may have been going through something, because I was re-energized on a day. So thank you
Amen.
again.
Thank you.
And before we leave, I I want to give you this, because you're definitely deserving of a hand clap of praise. And before we go, I just want to give you a hand clap of praise. Thank you for gracing the platform on tonight. And I pray that you have a blessed rest of your evening. And you are welcome back here anytime. In tonight, I tell you, I definitely was blessed by her presence. She was definitely a breath of sunshine. She definitely brightened up the place. She dropped some nuggets. If you were not able to catch the whole broadcast, you can go back and listen to the replay. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on some of the platforms, and grab some of these nuggets. If you were blessed by something that you heard, y'all share it with somebody, and go over and grab a book. Get an ebook, get a paperback. Reach out to the author, because when you reach out to the author, you allow the author to really benefit from the purchase of your book, because they get more of the royalties when you purchase it directly. And then not only that, you can get a personalized copy. You get them the opportunity to write you a personalized message. So y'all support these authors by going in their inboxes and asking them to send you a personalized copy. They give them an opportunity to make more money, y'all, and not go to Amazon. You can go over there and check them out and see what they got, but reach out to those authors. Again, y'all, thank you for tuning in to the Crew Podcast. I am the visionary Queen Angela, and I thank you for allowing me in your space. Share it with somebody, because you never know what the next person may be in need of. Until next time, y'all be blessed.